Our next talk for today is reserved for the gold partner of this year's conference, Data Masters, who have significantly contributed to achieving everything we envisioned. This is another milestone in our long-standing collaboration, and we hope there will be many more. Next, we have Martina Naumovska Necheska, partner and head of data science at the Data Masters. Martina will be presenting Beyond the Hype, the realities and the challenges of implementing AI in business. In this session, she will explore the hidden challenges of AI integration, such as data governance, data lakes, and building robust data infrastructure. Martina will provide insights on how to navigate these complexities to create a solid foundation for sustainable growth. Please welcome Martina Naumovska Necheska to the stage.
Thank you so much. Can we start? Is it okay, or should I wait for a minute or two? Okay, perfect. Let me see how this goes. There you go. Okay. Perfect. I know it's late in the evening. Probably everyone is really tired. I will actually try to be very specific and very on point. So good afternoon. My name is Martina Naumovska Necheska, as my colleague described it. I'm a partner in Data Masters and head of Artificial Intelligence and Data Science Department. What we're doing is basically we're a solution-based company that we make tailor-made solutions for our client needs, whether that's on the data side or whether that's on the artificial intelligence side. I've been working on developing hands-on technical artificial intelligence models and ML models prior for almost a decade. And what I have seen, what I've witnessed together with my clients that have varied from finance to insurance to healthcare and so on, is that everyone is very hyped, especially nowadays, in implementing artificial intelligence as part of their product or as part of their processes. But the thing with being what every one of my clients says, look, Martina, we really want to be the AI-first company, which means that AI should be the front of our product and everything else should follow. That's very great, and that's what every one of us wants, right? But I will give you an example of a client of mine I've been working for the last 5 years that, let's call it for the sake of anonymity, a future tech. Future Tech had a product that they sold across the globe. They came to us for a couple of years and they said, we want to be an ML at the time and now AI-first company. We want to empower our product with AI models and in order to bring better customer experience and better value to our customers. That was great. We enabled the team, and as a proper data scientist, we actually got to work. We started building ML models, we started building NLP models even 4 years ago in order to provide what the customer wanted. We developed a state-of-the-art NLP models, we gave what the customer wanted, and that's an additional to their product for better value proposition. But when the client wanted to scale the product together with their AI part, and when they wanted to go globally and when they wanted to integrate the artificial intelligence models to all of their clients, they came to a wall. Why? Because the allure of AI is that when you enter the AI, it's a silver bullet for every business challenge, right? Everyone thinks that it's a plug and play. You plug the AI, it works a magic, everyone is happy, and the business probably earns more money or actually is a lot more fancier. But that's not the point. AI, it's like the Trojan Horse. You see it from outside and you say, I will be a better company, I will optimize everything, and my life would be a lot better. But what's inside is what no one talks about. A company needs to be ready to accept the challenges that comes with AI. And that comes in terms of data governance, centralized data lakes, and robust infrastructure. So in order for you to actually embrace the artificial intelligence as part of your product or as part of and become an AI-driven company, having a process in the company that is driven by AI or supported by AI, you need to be aware as a company that this Trojan Horse will enter into the door and you will be faced with one of the key pillars of what we call putting the AI foundation to work. So what we've learned, and what I've learned in the last 10 years, is that it's not, AI, it's not a plug-and-play solution. And we're here today to discuss wonderful technical nuances and wonderful technical designs and infrastructures. But the thing is that the business, the real business, needs to embrace the transformative changes that come with artificial intelligence. So the key point that I want to talk to you about today is that the AI is only as powerful as the foundation upon it's built. So, what is the foundation? When, throughout the data master's existence, we have come to a realization that companies need to have something that's called AI maturity model. A maturity model means how much a company is ready to accept artificial intelligence in their daily operations. And in order for a company to be that, they need to have the 4 what we call pillars in order to embrace artificial intelligence and for the artificial intelligence to become that plug-and-play button so everyone is happy. The first pillar is data strategy. Is the data quality of your organization well? Is the data accessible? Is it used? Is the data integrated? Do you have different silos and different places where your data is at? And do you use the data? How are you using the data? The second one is the data infrastructure. What does that mean? We have a lot of clients that they have very old-fashioned data on-premise solutions, and they say, Martina, I really want to have a machine learning model, or right now, I really want to have a large language model that will just sit on top of my data and talk to my clients, and so, you know, my clients can ask questions, and the AI will be something like an AI sales assistant. That's perfect, and that's great. But does the client actually have a solid infrastructure for the AI to be supported on? That means, does it have a cloud or hybrid system working? Is the data gathered in data lakes and warehouses? What does that mean? That means that is the data organized in a way that a human can understand so the AI can understand. What we need to be very aware of is that there is no way for the artificial intelligence model, however it is, to understand what the data is saying if the human cannot get it, right? And the third one is the processing power. Does the company has the processing power to actually enable NI in their daily operations? The third thing is that no one is talking about nowadays is the organization. That means that is the company aware of the cross-functional collaboration that the teams needs to have in order to use the AI, in order to map the process that the AI, where the AI will fit in, right? Or is the company ready to train and upskill their employees to be more driven by what's new, first, and second, to empower the employees to the changes that will happen in the organization. And in that, drive the change management. And the fourth pillar is the governance. This is the scary one, right? When everyone hears the word data governance, that they freak out, which means that they're like, yeah, there's a lot of things to do and that's never an end of it. That's true, but you need to start from somewhere. You need to talk about data privacy, bias mitigation, transparency, and accountability in your organization in order to be aware of what the AI will bring. So the question here is, what did my client did? The first story that I started my talk with. Once we implemented the fancy large language models, what did the client have? Because our client had the data from all of their clients in different infrastructures. The data was in different silos. They didn't have any data lake on data warehouses, right? So when we created the large language model and when we created the agent, it worked for one client, but it was not able to scale, which means that they needed to go back a step, which was very frustrating. Why? Because everyone was ready to embrace the AI, but what they didn't know as a company is that their core pillars were actually not there. But this sounds very scary, because this slide, if we go here, you would think, very good, Martina, but in order for my company that is basically having data all over, it's not ready, there are people there from another century and things like that to embrace AI, that means that it will need to take 20 more years. And then AI will be something else, and then we're out of the game, right? That's not correct. Because there is a roadmap that throughout the years of Data Masters experience, we actually came up with, that a company should go through, not basically every step of the way and not have the tick, 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 I've done this to completion, but they need to start being aware of, and they need to start talking about it if they cannot get it done. But there are three crucial points to this. First is, in order to have a successful AI project that will see the light of day and not be somewhere there, an intern doing the modeling and then trying some sauce here and there, the company needs to have, first it needs to go through an assessment. What does that mean? Where am I at? What do I have from this? Do I have data accessibility? Do I have data lakes in their warehouses? Am I okay to train and upskill my employees or not? Okay? Once we have the assessment, which currently sounds like, yeah, there's some consultants that will come and just do some paperwork. No. The decision makers in the company needs to ask these questions. What do I have from the 4 pillars that I'm good at? What do I have from the 4 pillars that I am bad at and I need to start talking about it? And where can I actually get better? And here comes the stakeholder management, right? In order for the company to become artificial intelligence driven, it needs to have a stakeholder support. And it needs to have a clear, not vision and mission of the next 20 years, but clear short-term goal of where the company needs to get. When we define the goals, we define something that we call priority matrix, which means that what we call AI radar, so where in the organization can I see potential use cases, can I see potential processes that I want to implement and prioritize them based on some of the information that I will get from the assessment, which means that where is my data, how can I access my data, and where would I change with that model. And this, as you can see in the slide, it goes into circles. Why? Because it's not a 6 months of a job and you go through the road and then you get there and you're done. You need to reiterate this at least twice a year to actually ask yourself the questions. What are the goals? Am I getting there? Is the technology supporting it? And then we go to the second round of this highway, right? And that's the data strategy. Am I data integrated? If not, what I can do about it? What about the data infrastructure? Do I have it? Do I need to have it? And in how long can I actually get somewhere? Sorry. Then we have data governance and data cataloging. Data governance and data cataloging is very crucial. Why? Because as I said, if the people in the company cannot understand the data, we cannot assume that the model can. Right? So the model needs to be supported by the people inside of the organization that needs to have access and understand of their data internally. With that, we enable the team and the business stakeholders to be a part of the AI initiatives and to be a part of the data changes that are happening in the organization. So the artificial intelligence doesn't go straight to the AI department, IT department, or the AI department, so it's not driven only by the guys that are actually doing the modeling, but it's driven by the business itself. So it's driven by the business that is actually using the data of the company to drive change. Then we go into a little bit more AI technical step, right? Once we have the enablement, once we get the business strategy and the data strategy, we go into creating an agile AI testbed. What does an agile AI testbed is? It's basically a bed in infrastructure and an opportunity for the company to play with models. Some of them will work, some of them will not work. But if the company thinks that it's plug-and-play solutions, which means that let's say we want to solve a churn model, right? We create 6 months and we get the best churn model and we just productionize it, it's wrong. It needs to have a test bed. It needs to have a playground where either the machine learning engineers or data scientists will actually play in order to bring the most value. Then we go to the change management, and the change management is it's very important to the roadmap of AI success. Why? Because I said in the data cataloging and data governance part of the roadmap, in order for an artificial intelligence model to see the light of day, it needs to be driven by the people that will use it, and that is, it needs to provide some kind of a change management. The last but not least around it is infrastructure and deployment and ethical AI practices. Ethical AI practices, even though it's scary, even though it's changing every day, the company needs to be ready for it. Why? Because the clients that will use the AI will ask it, the editors will ask it when they actually come to see what you're doing in the organization, so you need to be aware of it and you need to ask the questions. Maybe not be the best at it, but you need to be very aware. If a company is actually going through this roadmap, it has the vision to become a sentient enterprise. Why? Because a sentient enterprise is what is an enterprise that will be able to actually open this Trojan Horse without any surprises. So that means that the stairway to the enterprise that is ready to welcome all the challenges that AI implementation brings. That means a company will be able to detect patterns in real time. We all want that. Second one is to actually have a proactive problem solving. It has operational efficiency and scalability operations and continuous learning and adaptation. And the last one is a crucial. Why? Because if companies don't invest in their people inside, as they're investing in technology and infrastructure, as I mentioned, then the whole change management of accepting artificial intelligence inside of the company will not do good. There will be a resistance, there will be people that will not use it, and then the AI cannot thrive by itself. So to end here, I just really want to hear your own feedback and your own thoughts, your own questions. Maybe we can use this time to actually talk about it because this is a real-life problem and probably all of you are in different business sectors. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It's time for questions.
Anyone? Anyone?
Do we have?
Yes.
We have one question here, right?
Yeah, I wanted to know how long approximately did it take for a company that had insufficient infrastructure to make a sufficient AI example of it?
So that's a process. It's not a plug and play, it's a process. It depends on the size of the company and depends on how much a company is willing to actually invest and try and resist, right? So it can take from 6 months to 2 years, but however, the roadmap that I was talking about is something that is actually, you go from one step, you go from one step and then you come back to another. But I think that in 3 to 6 months, if a company is ready to embrace an infrastructure, they can get it and then they can start building artificial intelligence on top of it. It's not a science fiction, but they just need to be ready to start somewhere.
Thank you.
Anyone else, please?
Anyone? Oh, you're tired.
Don't be shy. Yes.
Thank you. We heard this talk also in the morning about data engineering and all the new titles coming up. In my experience, like 90% of data scientists became data engineers because this is just how the way it is. Like we just need good descriptive analysis.
That's correct.
First.
That's correct.
So what is your speculation on AI engineers? What will they become in 3 years from now?
Prompt engineers.
And what will prompt engineers become?
No. AI engineer, so AI scientists, if we can call them that, would probably become also some kind of AI engineers in terms of that they will be dealing with how the artificial intelligence will be able to, as my colleague previously said, right? How do I train the large language models in order to understand the structured data that I have? And that will be, so how do I organize the structured data so the large language model can understand? And that, as the same as the data engineers currently, right, are preparing the data for the model to get, that, in my opinion, will become what the AI engineers in the future will be. So everything will involve around building having the know-how of which model to use, but on the other side, having a know-how of what the data is and how to prepare it for the model to accept it. That's probably, we'll see.
Anyone else? Yes.
Yeah, thanks for your presentation. I saw that it seems to be extremely expensive actually to make an AI model. I mean, you know, it's not only making the model, but all the preparation teams, training them. Do you think it's always worth this money or worth this effort to go into AI for companies?
Thank you so much for the question, and it's a brilliant one. As the consultant and me, it will tell you depends, which means I don't think that is in this day and age you need to do a model from scratch. There is right now, today, there are too many models available to play with and to actually create something that will bring the business value. From my experience, the most sophisticated models are not what the 90% of the business needs, right? We're not talking about some very extreme, complicated DNA life science. I'm talking about banks, telecoms, retail companies, and things like that. So in my experience, it's not very expensive to build an AI model. But companies should start from somewhere. If I have never, as a company, if I have never implemented anything that is prescriptive and predictive, I would not start with investing directly into AI. I would start with basically creating maybe some machine learning model just to have and to drive the change in the organization internally, because that is, in our experience, what costs the most money. It's not the model itself. It's what kind of, how can you calculate the return of investment of the model after you have put in production, right? Is the company ready to embrace it? Are you going to lose money there? Those are the questions that in the roadmap that I showed you, usually the companies ask and should ask themselves in that first business cycle. Because it's not just to, you can give millions to create AI, but it will not solve the problem. And in this day and age, if you can test in the AI test bed, you know, plus minus some kind of AI models just to see how it will work, it will do the job before you're ready to actually go full productionize and full spending money on the real thing.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Do we have more questions? Yes?
Thank you for presentation. One follow-up question on top of the previous one. So did you have challenge explaining to your clients why it's important to go through this roadmap?
Yes, every day. That's every day. Yes, so do you have a follow-up question, or should I?
No,
Sorry.
I'm actually interested in your experience, because I will probably go through something like that, so I would like to learn from yours.
Yes, so we have challenges in explaining this to customers every time that before we start a project, when we're delivering the project, and after the project. Why? Because we are creating the aim of, and I will now get out because of the question, I'll just get out of artificial intelligence, and I'll tell you what Data Masters is doing a little bit. So what we're creating is what we are calling internal data masters inside of a company. What does that mean? That means that you need to have people inside of the company, not outside, not experts from outside that know everything and so on. Inside of a company that will understand what we are delivering. Because those people are the driver for the change, right? I, as a consultant, can do as much as I can. But if I teach you in your company how to embrace the model that I'm making, right, and to understand the data that the model is using, you will be the driver of that roadmap and that change in your own company. So, and that approach it's very difficult to sell, don't get me wrong, because, you know, usually you talk with IT and they say, I want, you know, this, you need to do this model and that's it. You deliver the model, I'll handle the rest. But if the company is not ready to hear that talk before, they will be able to hear that talk after implementation because they will understand the reality. But that has proven, so building internal capabilities have been proven in the last years that it's the right step and the right approach for the clients and for the customers to be able to embrace the changes that they come. Because it comes with a change anyhow. If you move from an Excel to a dashboard, that drives a huge change in our organization. And you can imagine what kind of a change it drives if you have been doing a budget in Excel for 10 years, and now a model tells you what your budget should be, right? So you need to have someone inside of the company that will be able to explain to every single business user of the model why it's that way, how, you know, how the model thinks, so the model gets a trust from the employees inside.
Thank you. It seems to be really challenging for sales at the beginning.
It is.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Is that all? Okay, yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Martina. And
Thank
on
you.
behalf of the data science team,
Thank you.
I would like to express our sincere gratitude for your contribution
Thank you
to
so
this
much.
conference.